What's going on, freelancers? Your dude Sly here, back at it with another Anthem news video for you. So I hope everyone out there is having a great holiday season so far. The big one just a few days away, and until Christmas is over, we probably won't be hearing much in the way of news, or at least until after the 25th, and then more likely you won't be hearing much until the new year. So in this video, I wanted to talk about the recent BioWare live stream, some big news about raids, and a few other things. So let's jump right into it, guys. The first one, and the reason you probably clicked to watch this video, those are about raids in Anthem. It looks like raids will not be coming out at launch. Now, don't freak out about it. That doesn't mean they're not coming at all. In the recent Stronghold and Interceptor gameplay live streamed by BioWare a few days ago, Ben Irving, one of the producers of Anthem, had a question on Twitter. It simply asked if there will be raids present in the endgame of Anthem. Short answer, BioWare doesn't call them raids, but rather quote-unquote aspirational content, Strongholds being one of them. However, they did say that the team has some amazing ideas and content ready for the future of Anthem. However, it will likely not ship with the game in February. Take a quick listen to the full answer right here.
Will there be raids?
Yeah, so we can answer this question kind of. So I think we believe that every game needs aspirational content.
Yep.
So the idea that there's a lot of activities that you do in the game, and it feels meaningful to have this long tail chase towards something. Either something that is challenging, or something that is rewarding, or that gives you better stuff. And so at launch, we have a lot of amazing aspirational stuff to do, right? As you go through the crit path and get towards max level, you start, getting a better idea of what javelin you want to play, what role you want to play.
Yeah.
And then you start kind of chasing this loot and getting really powerful. And then as you enter like the Elder game, you have strongholds that you just saw today and legendary contracts.
Yep.
And as you're doing these harder difficulties, you're building these loadouts and creating these synergies and play styles and trying to work out how to take on the hardest challenges and then, how to do that by yourself for a build, but then amongst a group of 4 players to keep pushing. And then as we enter the live service, we plan to add more and more stuff. And
yeah,
so
cool stuff.
We have some really exciting aspirational stuff for the live service that we're not talking about yet, that'll come pretty soon after launch. That will be, as players have done all this amazing content we have at launch, there'll be some more stuff that I think everything you do will get you ready for the things that come later. And we'll be talking about that next year.
And it's cool and it's different, and we don't call them raids, but
yeah,
but
like it feels that aspirational content.
And we want to talk about it. It's just we
do.
can't.
We just can't do it yet.
And best of all, it's tied into the very fabric of the game and the chaotic world, and so we're really excited about it. We're supposed to wrap now. Let's just take 2 more questions.
So as you guys just heard, the answer is mixed. No raids will not be coming out when the game ships, but a raid-like activity will be coming down the road. And by down the road, I'm assuming it's not going to be very long after launch, perhaps a month, maybe 2, like I said, after the game launches. So that finally answers that question, one that's been misinterpreted from awkward Twitter comments, mistakes on live streams, simple images from trailers, etc. At least we finally know the answer. Now that kind of worries me, like how they label it aspirational content. Like a raid is generally a term for end game, a hard team activity, where you have multiple bosses in a row, finalized by a harder main boss in which everything you just learned, from puzzle solving to the mechanics of all the prior bosses, all of that comes into play into like a final stand, sort of a climax for the raid itself. That's also where you find the best loot of the game. So the recent Black Armory DLC with the 4 forges in Destiny 2, that's quote-unquote aspirational content and in no way a raid. So we'll see what that comes down to when we get there. Now, while we're on the topic of endgame content, you also heard something new within that answer, legendary bounties. You also heard the term different loot pools. So that does mean RNG will be at play here. You will more than likely be selected a weapon at random at the end of an activity out of a pool of weapons, just like all other MMO games like Destiny, The Division, Warcraft, etc. Now, legendary bounties might be a little bit different though. Usually bounties are pretty specific instances, and you go fight this dude to get this reward, unless bounties have their own pool of rewards, which could be the case. However, this is the first time we've heard about legendary bounties, so I'm excited to see who these will pertain to. Are they just going to be like open world monsters, or Dominion General, some kind of weird Shaper relics? We're going to have to wait and see. And finally, guys, let's talk about the big news here, the Interceptor. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the Interceptor and the way it plays just screams Warframe to me. I mean, the quick pace, the dodging, sprinting, melee abilities, along with the way it looks, Now, it's not a bad thing at all. Don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome. It mixes up the gameplay quite nicely. However, this is our first real look at the Interceptor from a point of view of the Interceptor. Abilities, weapons, ultimate, quickness. We've never had a point of view from the Javelin like this before, so it was actually nice to get in there and see how the Interceptor works. With that said, however, I was a little unimpressed with the ultimate ability. Now, maybe it's just me here, but let's talk about it. So in this build, the Interceptor was loaded with a kind of, throwing knife ability, a long-range pistol, close-range shotgun, and of course it had its melee attack and its ultimate. Now, as it stands, it looks pretty effective, especially when clearing trash mobs. And when fitted out with top-of-the-line gear in the end game, I bet it's going to absolutely wreck, trash mobs. The melee attack seems to go on forever, but as it was mentioned in the stream, there is a cooldown you have to manage, and by levering, certain cooldown multipliers, you can get your melee back pretty quickly. But the ultimate? It's pretty much just your normal melee, except it's unlimited for the duration of your ultimate. Now, I do think that there's also a brief time when you're invulnerable to damage, which helps it as well. But the Colossus, let's talk about it. Colossus gets mini nukes, decimates everything. Storm brings down 3 elemental meteors, that primes everything, and then decimates everything. Ranger gets an entire pot of tracking missiles, decimates everything. Interceptor, it gets to scratch people for a very long time. Seems like it's missing a little bit of power there, don't you think? And I really don't see it being all that effective against endgame bosses, or even stronghold bosses. I mean, can you imagine running up to this guy and meleeing him to death? It would be like trimming the dude's toenails. Now, there is also the stunlock ability to think about, but I think I remember Ben saying that you can only stunlock medium bosses. It doesn't work on the big guys. There's also combos to think about, which will play a big part, and there are other abilities as well, but I really do feel like the Interceptor's ultimate's missing a little bit of something. Like, perhaps a chained explosion would be nice, or maybe a mod that links up chain lightning to targets around the one you're currently meleeing in your ultimate. I mean, that way the melee itself would detonate prime targets, and also they would kind of help you in doing damage. Something a little more powerful, useful, a little more explosive. I don't know, that's just my opinion here, but it seems a little lackluster to me. Perhaps I'll change my mind when I get to play it. Or maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is that, the Interceptor is not supposed to be a damage machine. It's only there to clear up trash mobs. However, that does bring up one thing I am impressed by, and that's the depth of team play that's going to be available to us. I expected Anthem to be a game like, Destiny or The Division. I was excited for it, but there are 4 classes, so to speak, and it's best to run a balanced team in the endgame. But you can just go around in anything, like any class, any combination of characters, and beat just about every activity in The Division or Destiny. You don't really have to think about your team all that much. But it seems to me that when you get to Grandmaster difficulty in Anthem, you're going to absolutely need each Javelin doing their part in order to get through it. The different primers, the detonators, the tanking ability, how each attack can have secondary or even tertiary effects on targets, weakening armor effects, all of this really has incredible depth to it, and I really did not expect that. However, it is extremely welcome, and that makes me even more excited about the possibilities. Now, I did have another video lined up before this one going over the inscriptions and components in depth, but I recently had some audio issues, and I didn't want to make a video that had problems, so I just kind of dropped it. But all of these things playing off of one another, that sets up for some awesome team play that's really only present on PC games at this time. Console doesn't really have that. However, there is one enemy here, and that's matchmaking. While I do endorse matchmaking, we all know that it just does not work with harder endgame content where communication is key. Perhaps in 2 to 3 months when everybody figures everything out, maybe then it'll work half the time. And if Grandmaster is as hard as they make it out to be, it could be nightmares waiting to happen. Once again, we'll have to wait and see, but that is really about it, guys. If you haven't watched the live stream, I highly recommend you check it out. The link is down below, or I also have it up here on my YouTube channel, unmonetized, of course. It's only really here just to make clicking over and watching it easier and faster, so definitely take a look at that. But that is it, guys. As always, incredibly excited for the future of Anthem, and I can't really wait to see more. I'm willing to bet that's probably all the news we're going to be getting for the rest of 2018, unless they pull some kind of Christmas surprise. So with that said, I hope all of you freelancers out there have a fan-freaking-tastic holiday season and a Merry Christmas, no matter which version of it you celebrate. If I don't make another Anthem video until 2019 when new stuff comes out, thank you all so much for spending your time with me here at Slide Nation. 2019, that is the year of Anthem, and I'm excited to see what's in store. Thank you all for watching and for supporting the channel, guys. If you're new to Sly Nation, then welcome, my friend. Subscribe for more Anthem, Destiny 2, or Division 2 content. Spank the thumbs up, but only if you enjoyed yourself, and keep those eyes open for more vids coming out soon. But until then, happy holidays, and until next time, this is your dude Sly, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.